So he's saying, Avram b'shorshoy. Avram, in his essence, in his root, is seichel anela mikol rayim. And as we discussed the other day, what does it mean, seichel anela mikol rayim? If it is concealed from thought, so how is it seichel? And we explained that seichel, in its true essence, is that which emanates directly from the soul. And in that itself, there is what's called, in Lamaila, it's called Chochma Ilo Da'atzilus. That's called Seichel Anela Mikol Rayim. So, okay, we discussed this quite extensively. Just to understand the whole principle of Seichel. There's one more notch in this union that I want to add. That's called Chochma Ilo Da'atzilus. Shalamayla Mebchinas Gilu. That's what he says over here. What is the principle in this? Chochma that's above Bechinas Gilu. What exists if it doesn't express itself? And when saying Bechinas Gilu means it cannot express itself. It's Bechinas Gilu. It's not. It doesn't express. It's above the whole phenomenon of Gilu. What kind of existence is this? And this is why this is called Chochma. This is Chochma Ilo Da'atzilus. What's special in Atzilus? And which we also discussed. Principally, Atzilus has a principal difference from the other worlds. And the difference is that Atzilus is Elokus, and the other worlds are creations. Very high creations like Bria, but it still is a creation. And Atzilus is Elokus. And what's the difference between Elokus and the creation? What's the difference between Elokus and the creation? And what is the meaning of the Atzilus is not a creation. Atzilus is a lokus. What brings a lokus into existence? I made this point over the years. What does it mean? A lokus is not a creation. What is it then? Elokus is not a creation means that Elokus does not need to be created. A creation means that it doesn't exist unless it is created. Elokus does not need to be created to exist. It is, and its existence is of the basic truth aspect.
But it's after the things.
Yes, it's after the Tzimtzum. So it is not completely without definition. We say this is Chokhmah, but within that quality of Chokhmah, it is a Chokhmah that expresses and that relates to a fundamental truth rather than to a created truth. The Din of Elokus is something which is impossible for us to conceptualize. The reason for that is that anything that we conceptualize, by definition, means that we can identify, have the idea, lachshov, skill. That we identify where it is and where it is not. Just like physically speaking, if we want to grasp an object, how do we grasp a table? We spoke about it, remember that? How do we grab a table? We go to the table outside the table. From the table itself, we can grab it. We can grab it when we can see, when we can be outside. And then we say, oh, this is not table, this is table. Anything that can be defined in this manner, this is not and this is yes, we can begin to identify it. That which does not have a not, where it is not, we have no way to grasp it. The whole idea of grasp means we take it around. Take it around means that we have to be able to go around it, outside of it. Bria, a created entity, that was created means. Creation means that it has, its presence is defined. A definition means it exists within these parameters. And outside of that, it doesn't exist. And it exists because of such and such situation. If not for that situation, it doesn't exist. So we can understand it. But something that does not have these limits, something that is a constant, complete constant, we have no grasp of it. Tmidi. Elokus is the fundamental and primary truth. And therefore we have no way of describing or grasping Elokus. Because everything we understand is through the process of grasp. And we can grasp something that we cannot define it. What we can understand about the Elokus is what it is not. It is not a Bria. It does not have the quality of what we say something that came into existence. It never came into existence.
Now it's contrary to the, we can grab the table if we know something which is not table. So we create something which is not the local.
Right. So, but that doesn't give us a grasp in the Lakus. It only tells us what the Lakus is not. It doesn't have the limits of Bria. It doesn't give us a grasp in it.
So you should know the table, what is outside of the table. So it's two aspects.
Yeah, so the table we can grasp. That which is outside, we can grasp. Because that's just a presence without definition. What is this space outside of the table? The space is, it's not occupied, but it's not an entity. It's not a presence. It's not occupied. Same thing, this is called ideas hashlila. Did you ever come across this term? Ideas hashlila means to know what it is not. So by saying what is not, we are identifying it, at least from our vantage point, from our viewpoint. And this is why we can describe Chochma Yelo Atzilus as something which is above Bechinas Gilui, because it relates to Elokus, and Elokus it does not have a presence that comes into being. Therefore, it has nothing to do with Gilui. Something that comes into being can be revealed, it can be concealed, but it can relate to the concept of Gilui. Something has come into being. Something that has not come into being doesn't have any connection to Gilui, to expressing itself, because it's the essence. Without any prior activity, previous. That's why we say it's l'mayla mechinas gilui. It's completely above gilui. Anything that comes into being can be revealed. It can be a very high thing, so it revealed a little bit, revealed in a remez and vaguely, but it has something to reveal. But something that is essence cannot be revealed. And this is Chochmei Lo Datzilus. Avram's source, the source of Avram's wisdom, Avram's Chochmei is Chochmei Lo Datzilus. And this is why you say Seichel HaNe'elam Mikol Rayon. Rayon means thought. Thought, by definition, means that there is some kind of a beginning to it. I'm thinking about something. I can be thinking about nothing. And this is beyond thought. This is Avram, this is the Sheirish Seichel from Avram.
So thought is related to Atzilus?
What?
Thought is like Atzilus.
No, thought is already in Bria. Machshava Dibur U'Maaseh is Bria Yitzir Nasiya. So, okay, I just wanted to, that if you have meaning in these words. And this is why the Chazal say, but the Ikar Kavana, he says, ultimate Kavana intent is that the world, in Bria, in the world, there should be Gilui. And this is what the Chazal say, Ad Avraham Oichesha Bo'elam. Avraham is the one who brought light into the world. Until Avraham, there was darkness in the world. Which means that they did not have the Elokus in the world. It was completely darkness.
So now it can be in Gilum?
Now we have the Torah. Surely we have Gil. We have Pnimis HaTorah. Even. V'hagam de oir ho'atzilu. Okay, we have that fourth line. V'hagam de oir ho'atzilus. Although that the light of Atzilus nimshach tomid bibiyah is drawn constantly into biyah lehavoisom ulach yoisom, to create them and to give them life. The zehu, where this is mashe iker hahischatshus hu mishem havaya. This is the point that we always make on the Shem Havaya and the hischatshus. Hischatshus means what innovates existence. What is the source of existence? The source of existence is the Shem Havaya. The Havaya hu loshin mahava. Because that is the word, the Shem Havaya. It comes from the word mahava, creator. And Havaya, Shem Havaya, this is Olam HaAtzilus. So therefore, there is Atzeir HaAtzilus in the world because there is a hischatshus in the world. So therefore, there is Atzilus. There is Oir Atzilus in the world. Why do we say that the world is Choshech? So he explains that even though the Shem Havaya is Nimshech in Biyah, Aval, however, HaHizhav was Bepoyel, Shem Havaya, that provides the Koyach for his house. But Bepoyel, in actual functioning level of his habus, hu alidei Shem Elokim. This is the Shem Elokim. Which means that the koyach to be mahava, the ability to be mahava, is from Shem Havaya, but the Shem Havaya is contained in the Shem Elokim, and therefore what we actually see is the Shem Elokim.
So, if you look on the light, so you can know something about the sun. So if you look on the Shem Elokim, it's not possible to understand something about Havaya?
It's possible, but you understand it through a hidden manner, from a dark perspective, not directly, not from light.
So it's not like sun and light, it's like sun and darkness, like concealment.
Right.
Shadow.
What?
Sun and shadow.
Right.
The opposite.
Mm-hmm. It's like if you're explaining a thought, a seichel, to someone. So the words are directed and they are inspired by your thought, by your seichel. But what does the other person hear? Does he hear your seichel or does he hear your words? Does he hear your words? So he does not get the bright light of your seichel. He gets the seichel, how it expressed in words. So he gets the words. So even though inside the words and the motivator and the inspiration for these words is a seichel, but still that seichel that's not what he gets.
Sometimes I can clearly explain his person almost understand like me, like I understand.
No way. If it depends what kind of seichel. If it's seichel chitzoni, yeah. If it's seichel pnimi, if it's an external seichel that you can show him, so that's to start with, it's a seichel at the level of Shem Elokim. But if it is a pnimis seichel that comes from pnimis hachochma, then there's no way that you can express him seichel just. If he will get to understand it, will be on his own. But you cannot give him the seichel the way it is. You have to put it in words. And words is not the seichel. Okay? As how the Pil Hashem Elokim. The Zehu Breish is Bora Elokim. And this is why the Pasuk says that Breishis Bora Elokim, that Elokim created Breishis. Even though we say that his harvest is from Shem Havaya, the reason is because in functional level, what we see in his harvest is Shem Elokim, not Shem Havaya. Hine, Kain hu ba'oirhu atzilus. And thus, this is the exact manner, the way the oirhu atzilus exists in the world. That even though that shehu hu hanimshech bibiyah, that this is the same oir, that is an oirhu atzilus. This is what comes into biyah, lahaveisom ulhachayoisom. And this is what creates them, and this is what sustains them. The whole zeh, but nevertheless, in the oir hoatzilus bibiyah, this oir hoatzilus, the way it is present in biyah, hu bebchinas helem vehester, it is in a state of helem vehester. It's in a concealed state. It is present, but it is completely concealed. This is a idea that we discussed many times, that it is present but it is concealed. Just as we discussed now, but I prefer to have a very simple, down-to-earth illustration. And we discussed last time, what is darkness versus light? That in the dark, if this room were dark, you can find out everything that's in the room. And you can construct in your mind exactly what the room looks like, how it's set up. And you can construct not only how it's set up, but what it can be used for, what its function is. but you don't see the light that made this room. What do we have in our world today? Let's project a situation like this. We have a dark room, tables and chairs set up in this way. And you go around and you feel them out, well, we can use it this way. So what will come in your mind from that discovery would be no different than if you go into a cave and you find certain forms of stone. And what you will say is that this formed itself for whatever reason. Accidentally it formed itself. But it can be used as a room. It can be used to sit around. You don't see that is in fact the oil, that is in fact the concept that created it. That you don't see. You see the mitzias. And for the mitzias you say, oh, this is what it can be used for. So that which it can be used for, like I say, we can find out Shem Havaya, the purpose, but that's not what it expresses. This is what you're projecting. So I want to point out something which has also been mentioned many times. We have day and night. And day and night is formed by the sun. Api Torah, the sun rises. Hashem brings the sun out to make day. So that why does the sun rise? The sun rises in order to make day on the world, on the earth. That is its function. That's exactly what it's made to do. How does it appear physically? Physically, it appears a complete opposite thing. Physically, it appears the sun is doing its own thing, couldn't care less what happens to the light. It doesn't come out to shine on the world. It's just a bunch, it's a big ball of fire. The earth happens to be in proximity to the sun, and the earth turns on its axis, and the sun shines. Turns away, the sun does not shine. So all you see is just the phenomenon of changing. The fact that it's day and night, that's your own making. Oh, it's light. Oh, I can use the light. Oh, it's dark. I have to go to sleep. So the real essence, day and night, is not even perceived as a real creation. What's being perceived as a real creation is just the proximity of sun and of the earth and the sun. Whereas the real creation is that it should be day and night. The fact that the sun makes day and night, that was secondary. Hashem created day and night. And Hashem said, oh, here, the sun, you serve by day. The moon, you serve by night. You understand? A total opposite. What do we assume it's the physical phenomenon? It's the opposite.
So what you see is the same. But when it's darkness, for example, you see, oh, I see this, so I can use this for this. But when it's the light, you see the Hashem created.
Then you see the Oiro Atzilus. That's what I'm saying. Then you see the Oiro Atzilus. Then you see the godly light. Otherwise, you see just the Mitzias. You're right. From the Mitzias, you can surmise and understand what it could be used and perhaps how it happened or why it happened. But that already has to do with your emunah, has to do with your seichel. But what do you see? You see a physical phenomenon. You don't see anything. If you're misboinen and you understand that Hashem made day and night, and the sun is actually brought out to make day, then you see mamash Hashem's presence in the world. Because day and night is a spiritual thing, not a physical thing. Then you see that the whole physical phenomenon of the world is to serve a spiritual purpose. The opposite of what it appears from the physical world. This is that Shem Elikim, that the Shem Havai is Behelam, and Atzilus is Behelam. The Elokus, meaning the real reality, the real purpose, the real meaning, is Behelam. In the world. Just like a person is traveling from here to there. As he is traveling, you only see that he is moving. He is just moving. You don't see the reason why he is moving. You only see the fact that he is moving. He could be taking a ride. He could be going to a wedding. He could never had there. You don't see the real essence. What you see is just the physical phenomenon. The essence, what's going on in his mind, what's going on in his soul, you don't see. This is how things are in the world. But the real essence, the real chayus, is not seen. Ve'Avraham, okay, so this is how the world was in total darkness before Avraham came. Even though there is Oir Atzilus in the world, but it's Bechinas Helen ve'Hester. Ve'Avraham he ischil lehoyir, and Avraham started to give off light, to make brightness in the world. What does this mean? V'alidei avidosoi, where through his avodah hinshich bechinas toisves oiris. He brought down that bechina, that aspect which is called toisves oiris, extra lights. What is toisves? Toisves oiris means extra lights. Extra light means that he brought a type of light that is not necessary just for the existence of the world. The existence of the world is physical. It is Hashem Elikim. And you don't have to see anything what's happening there. Like I said, you only see the physical phenomenon that there is the earth and the sun. The fact that there is day and night, that you don't notice. When you come and you express and say, hey, day and night, that is the primary existence in the world, this you are adding on top of the primary existence of the world. You say there's something more to it than just what the world is. It's a toisvasayis. Hainu, and that is sheyoyir oir hoatzilus bibiyah. Then Avram started to affect that the light of Atzilus, and what is the light of Atzilus? The light of Atzilus, as we said before, this is where there is full gilui, full recognition of the godly truth. Over there, it's only godliness, and this Oiro Atzilus should shine in Biyah, so that we should see in the world that what is taking place, some kind of a godly phenomenon, not the physical phenomenon. Or Atzilus should shine in Biyah. This is, like we mentioned last time, that Avraham told the people who came to eat by him, he said they should thank God. And they said, why should I thank God? This food grew from the ground. Right? And Avraham explained to them, it didn't grow from the ground. The ground didn't produce the fruit. The ground couldn't less to produce it. God is the one who produced this fruit. Like we discussed it many times. He revealed a new perspective which is really not part of the physical existence of the world. To show them that this physical world is really Oiro Atzilus. It's really a godly phenomenon. It's not a physical worldly phenomenon. Can you imagine the tree wanting to produce a fruit for you to eat? Doesn't make any sense. What is the tree? How the tree care what happens to its fruit? Whether a human being eats it, or it falls down on the ground and rots, or a cat eats it, makes no difference to the tree. So Abraham came and he said, you're making a big mistake. It does make a difference. Because it is God who commanded the tree to produce the fruit. And this fact that it produces the fruit is going to godly phenomenon. It's not a tree. The Zehu HaTzivui. Okay, so you have it clear. The Zehu. And this is what's meant with this tzivui, with this command that Hashem gave to Avram. Lech Lecha. Lech means move on. What should you move? You should move Lecha. You should move yourself. Sheyiyeh hiluch hashoyre shalcha. That your shoyrish, the bechina seichel anela mikol raya, your shoyrish, which is this supreme seichel anela mikol raya that we said before, should be hiluch. It should be moved. It should go on and reveal itself. Bechinas chochmei lo da'atzilus. This chochmei lo da'atzilus should go and reveal itself ba'olam biyah in the world. This is Lech Lecha. So this is what's called the Pnimizdik translation of these words. But the Pashtus, it actually meant that Avram should go and should reveal his principles in the world, teach the world his principles. I've explained that this is the inyan of revealing Oiro HaTzilus in Biyah.
But you say it's Lemala with Rayon.
Right.
So how he's going to reveal?
This is a very good question. Superficially. It cannot be revealed step back. Through Rayon, it cannot be revealed. In other words, if you want to understand it and only through your understanding to have it, it's impossible. Like when we said before, that it is not the tree that produces the fruit, it is the Rebbe that produces the fruit. Now, if one insists, no, it is the tree that produces the fruit, and I want to see that the tree has wisdom and understanding, and it wants to produce the fruit for me to eat, that's not possible. In other words, to combine the two is not possible. But to illuminate and to show that it's not the tree altogether, but it's Hashem's will, then it's possible.
But this is Gilur.
This is Gilui, but not Gilui through the world. Gilui through the world would mean if the tree, like in the Osid Lova, it says, in the future time it says that the tree itself will also scream, like, I'm kosher, I'm not kosher. That's in the time. But now we don't have that. So it is when we see it's not the tree at all. So it's not Gilui through the tree. It is elimination of the Helam. There is the tree conceals. So you say it's not the tree. So you recognize what the truth is, but it's still not Gilui at your worldly level. It's just what's called you are mevatel the world. You say it's not world, it's godly. This is all that we are doing the whole time, Shoteru mitzvahs. The whole Yoteru mitzvahs, making brochas and putting on tefillin, it doesn't change in fact. In other words, it doesn't reveal godliness to the physical. You're saying that the physical is meant to reveal godliness. You mevatel the physical. You say that this is not its ultimate purpose. La'osid lovei, after all the abirurim will be accomplished, then it actually permeate the physical itself. And then it will not be through rayon, through thought. It will be just to see it. It'll be just the reality.
I just know it's like this, not because I see, not because I feel it, just like the moon, I just know. So you cannot call this Gilui, but not Gilui too, because I know it's...
Yeah, but it's not Gilui through the world. It isn't... Okay, this is the Lech. And where is he supposed to go and take? Where is he supposed to go and take this seichel, this chochmei elo, that chilus? Where is he supposed to bring it down to? El ha'oretz. He has to bring it down to the earth. It says, Lech lechom yartzecho el ha'oretz asher areko. He has to bring it down to the earth. Shehu bechinas malchus. Oretz is the bechina of malchus. She has to bring down the chochmei elo, the atzilus, this seichel amnel mikol rain, into the level of malchus. So we'll now slowly go into understanding what Malchus is. The Yodua, it is known, the Chol HaHaloes VaHamshoches, that all rising, all elevation, Hamshoches and drawing down, hu alidei spheras hamalchus. It is through the spheras hamalchus. All inyonim where the world rises higher, or that you mamshich an oir into the world, it is through the spheras hamalchus. Ukmeisha Kosovo, as the Pasuk says, Zeh hashar laHashem. This is the gateway to Hashem. Tzadikim yovei yovei. Tzadikim enter through this gateway. Which means the Kmeisha hashar, just like the gate, Meshamesh liknisa v'yitzia, serves to enter and leave. Kein hu b'sfiras hamalchus. Similarly, the similar thing is b'sfiras hamalchus. Shehu shar. The sfiras hamalchus is like a gateway. The chol ha'alois v'hamshoches, because all rising and bringing down hu al yodeh dafke. It is exclusively through the inyan hamalchus. So we need to just, at least as a beginning, to get an inkling what is meant by this oritz, by the spheres hamalchus. Malchus is a connecting point between the higher and the lower. What does this mean? The higher and the lower are very separate, very different. This is higher and this is lower, and they can't mix. They're two different worlds. So how do they connect? So I'll give you an example, what used from Dibur, from speech. Like I mentioned before. Yeah? In speech, you have like this. You have a thought, you have an idea. This idea, you cannot transfer to someone. It's in your mind. It's your idea. And then you are able to formulate this idea, put it into a form, put it into words, and you can give in the words. And these words, on their own, do not give anything. They don't give you. The word simply says, this is what I think. The one who is listening to these words, if he does not want to understand from these words, he will not understand. The only way you can understand something from words is if you want to. It's not something that you actually give him a seichel. You give him words that are almost like commands. This is what it is. If you want to listen to it, you want to delve into it and understand what is being said, then you'll understand. And if you don't want, then you won't understand. So this is the gateway where the Mila presents something in a manner that simply makes a statement. And the bottom rises up and wants to get the point. And that makes a bridge between the two. In other words, it isn't something that actually transfers from this one to this one. This one remains Lamaila, this one remains Lamata. But they shake hands at this point, in this level, in Malchus, because Malchus has both. Malchus has the words, but the words are formulated by the Seichel. And on the other hand, on the other side, the recipient, he hears words, but he wants to understand the Seichel. And this is how the Seichel gets transferred. This is how the Seichel goes through. So the Malchus provides the gateway. How the lower one can rise to the higher one, the lower one can go down to the lower one. This is called Oretz. Malchus is called Oretz. Why is it called Oretz? Just like the Oretz, the earth, is the lowest element in our world, the bottom. Malchus is the lowest element. Just like the earth has the hidden koyach to produce everything, Malchus has the hidden koyach to represent everything. With words, you can represent everything. But they have to be able to want to receive it. With me? So when the Mila, when the Seichel, the Rab, goes down to the lowest level possible, he's going into Malchus. That's called Oretz. He has to go down to the Oretz. Once you go down to the Oretz, then the lower, then it can be received from the bottom. Okay, this is just, so to say, a preliminary introduction to the Inyan. Now let's learn. So, Malchus is like the gateway. But this is the gateway that allows for Halav Hamshoch.
Would you bring it on the Hamshoch, or what about Allah?
Halav is when he wants to rise up and to understand through these words what is in the Seichel. Otherwise, he only gets words.
After he's understand, he rise up.
He's rising to get the what's hidden in these words. What's the Seichel in it? ומטעם זה for this reason Nitztavo Avraham Avinu was commanded lo leches le'eretz Yisrael, to go to Eretz Yisrael, to show meir bechinas malchus da'atzilus, because there in Eretz Yisrael malchus da'atzilus shines. The Chutz Loretz, he Eretz Ho'ami. Chutz Loretz, outside of Eretz Yisrael, is called Eretz Ho'ami, the land of other nations. Over Malchus Da'atzilus, And regarding Malchus Atzilus, it says, Ksiv, it says, Uchvoidi le'acher loy eten. The Pasuk says, Uchvoidi le'acher loy eten. My covet, my honor, I will not give to anyone else. What does that mean? The Malchus, the Atzilus, Eino mislabeshes, be'ayin sori. Be'ayin sori. New Dalet? Ayin sori. Ayin sori. Ayin sorim, I mean, this is the shivim sorim. Shivim, the ayin masters that rule the 70 nations. This ayin sorim, this is below Atzilus. This is what has to do with other nations, has to do with the world. Malchus Atzilus does not relate to the ayin sorim. The Bechinas Malchus we will go a little bit fast and then Mitchell next time will elaborate. The Bechinas Malchus, because the aspect of Malchus, Sheheim Boyim Bihislapshus Be'ayin Sorim, the Malchus aspect that could engage and be involved in the Ayin Sorim, Hu Rag Behabchino Madrego, the Bechinas Malchus de Yitziro, Malchus de Asiya. It's only from that Bechina, from the Madrego of Malchus de Yitziro, Malchus de Asiya can involve with the, can give chayas to Ayin Sorim. Olepaomim Rechoikim, and rarely and occasionally Gam Bechinas Malchus de Bria. Even Malchus de Bria can also be mislabesh in Ayin Sorim. Avo bebchinas Malchus de Atzilus, but the Malchus de Atzilus eino shayach klal ha-hislapshus be'ayin sorim. There, the hislapshus and ayin sorim is totally not possible. Essentially, as I said, we'll have to discuss it, but the principle, Malchus de Atzilus cannot be mislabish in the Ayin Sorim and in Chutz La'oretz. In simple terms, this is what we discussed before. Now I gave the mashal of Dibur. Let's say a teacher who teaches his real chayes, his real mind, is really involved in his teaching. He lives in this teaching. And he's sitting in front of students. And he's talking and talking, but the students don't pay attention. Could he teach? He couldn't teach. Give you an example. In the universities, a student has to have a certain number of hours that he spent in class. When he spends this number of hours, he gets his credit. He can sit in his class, and the professor is talking to the wall, and he is doing his own thing. And he gets credit for the hours that he sat there. Now this professor, if he was talking from his neshama, he wouldn't be able to do it. Because he is just reading a book also. So the professor is doing his thing, the student is doing his thing, and the professor gets paid for talking to the wall, and the student gets paid for sitting in the class. So that's not, there is no interaction there. Stays. This is sort of like we will take this as an analogy. Malchut Atzilus is all Holocaust. There's no mitzias there. All Holocaust. Malchut Atzilus to be mislabish in Eretz Ho'amim, in Klipa. Klipa is not interested in the Kedusha that you're giving, in the Seichel. It's interested in the credit, in the koyach that it gets. Malchut Atzilus cannot relate to that. That's to give you credit for sitting and listening to my words. No, I want to hear that you understand and you live with what I'm saying. You understand? Malchut Atzilus doesn't have any other mitzias. A professor, at least he gets paid, he gets covered, he gets something. But a professor who really lives and is in highest, just in this, like Chassidus, teaches Chassidus, I don't teach Chassidus because he wants to teach him, because he lives with Chassidus. So, and then it's impossible to put it into a vessel that doesn't relate to it, that doesn't want to get the chayes of it. The Malchut Atzilus, or Oiru Atzilus can only be mislabesh in Malchus and Malchus Kedusha and Netzisra, in Eretz Netzisra. Because there is this Kedusha, it receives, it's interested in that inyan. Like I said before, in order to transmit the bridge, it has to be that the Rav has to come down and Talmud has to rise up. And if not for that, there is no interaction. So, we're still right now in sort of in Oisius, Mitchum. Later we'll get into the one more Ois. But we want to understand as we're going through, even to understand these points.
Yeah, it's very, talking about very important points. In Chassidus, you always see Atzilus, Malchus, Atzilus, this.
Yeah, they don't know what we do.
All right. This is it for today. I want is